What's up, guys? Welcome back to Build Cool again. Today, it's back to work on our dirt bike to street legal adventure bike build. And in this episode, it's time to go through and do some more testing on this wiring harness so that way we can identify whether or not for sure we need a battery. Because I'd hate to waste the money and then wait around for it and have to figure out how to mount it if I really don't need it. So I was able to go through and do my research, and I was able to go through and mark out what everything is on this wiring harness, at least what they say it's supposed to be. I'm not 100% sure. Some of it I'm still guessing on, but for the most part, I think we've got it all figured out. But before we go through and test that, we need to go through and get that motor all bolted up on that thing, because it was kind of moving around as I was trying to fire it, and then once it fired, it's all vibrating. So we definitely need to get that thing all tightened down and get that upper motor mount bolted in there before we start messing around with this thing. So then from there, we'll probably go through, get the foot pegs back on this thing, get the shift lever, and who knows, we may figure out something else to do. But before we get started, let's go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button so we can keep on building cool. I just woke up today and I seen 30,000 views on the channel, and I could not believe it. It's growing so fast, and I have all of you guys to thank for this. So thank you for joining me on this mission, and here's to 30,000 more. So with all that being said, you guys, let's get started. Alright guys, so I went through and got this upper motor mount all bolted up and put on there. As you can see, the motor's nice and steady now. I don't think it's going to be rocking anywhere. I tightened up all the lower bolts on it. It's hard to see with all this spaghetti hanging here. It's quite a mess, but it will get better. But as you can see, I went through and was able to label everything. We've got brake light switches, and I assume these may be turn signals as well, because it said these three are our headlight. I have no idea what the blue one here is for. We've got our rear brake light switch. Let's see, we got our tail light. We got our ground up top here. And I also noticed that I think I had this guy here plugged into the wrong plug. Obviously, it doesn't really matter because we all heard it run. But apparently this thing's supposed to plug in back here at the rear of the harness and not up here. Not here. So the only other thing that could go there is this plug, so I just plugged it in there and hopefully it still runs. Who knows? But what I'm thinking is we're going to go ahead, ground this guy up here. We got this guy grounded here. Just trying to get everything all grounded, and we're going to go through, give this thing another test with the battery. Get these guys all hooked up to a battery and see if the electric start will work. I just really hate the thought of going through, hooking up a battery and everything, and the electric start not working. There's really no reason for that to be. So, I mean, maybe we should make sure that this is even plugged in. Yeah, it feels like it is. So, we should have power to the starter. There's just no real reason why none of this should work. So, I'll go ahead, get you guys set up, and we'll be able to go through, test the wires again, and who knows, maybe we'll have power. I'm kind of coming up with a different idea, so that way if I do have to run a battery, maybe I don't have to worry about all the nonsense. Maybe I'll just keep it like how I have the turbo bike and how I have shit bike wired onto an RC car battery, because I'll probably be riding this thing a few hours at a time, and I feel like as long as all the lights are LED, there's no reason it should really kill that battery that fast. And they're so small, I can carry a few of them. But who knows, we'll cross that bridge if we have to get to that point. So I'll go ahead, get you guys all set up, and then we can start trying to figure all of this out. So thanks for bearing with me, you guys, and let's keep going. Guys, so you heard it fire right up, no problem, and it seems to be running a little bit better. I'm sure if it had a constant flow of gas, it would be running way better, but due to the lack of gas, it's not running the best. But what I did notice is when I turn on that light, the voltmeter is reading 2 volts, which is definitely better than the 0 volts we had before. So I'm not 100% sure whether or not things are going to be able to support that, but there is some voltage there, which is a good sign. I'm kind of thinking that as I go through and strip some of this stuff away, I may not need a battery, but I also think that if I do have to do a battery, using an RC car battery like what I already have laying around would be the best way to go about it. I don't really use the turn signals. I'm more of one of those people that just use my hands. But that's just me. I know where I'm located. That's fine. You don't need turn signals. But I'm sure when I go to get a plate for this thing, they're going to want to be able to check and see that it does in fact have turn signals. So I'll probably just kind of make it look like I have turn signals. Kind of make them work for now and then strip all that stuff off because I don't need none of that. And the government ain't telling me what I can and cannot do. But we do have some voltage, so that is a very good sign. Just not quite what we needed. I'm going to keep playing with this, and maybe we can make things a little bit better. Maybe there's a draw somewhere or something grounding out. Who knows? I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that that's the case, and we don't need a battery, but I really think we're probably just going to have to run an RC car battery. So I'm going to go ahead, get you guys set back up. We'll go through, get the foot pegs on here, get the shifter lever on here, and maybe even get the front brakes put back on here. And then we'll call it a wrap, and maybe we can make some more progress, and I can do some more homework, because we can all tell I need more of that. So with all that being said, let's keep going, you guys. So after another late evening, we managed to go through and get a few more things checked off the checklist on this thing. It's not quite what I wanted to get done, but something's better than nothing. So we were able to get the foot pegs are on there, the shift levers on there, the front brakes are on there, and we were able to make some voltage in the wires. Not quite what I wanted, but I'm going to have to go through, do some homework, and hopefully I can figure out what's going on. or else I'm going to have to just make the call and figure out a battery for this thing. I know I don't want to, but things don't always go the way you planned. But before we get out of here, let's go ahead and smash that like and subscribe button so we can keep on building cool. I've got some big things planned coming up, but we just need to finish this thing up. And before we get to that, we may even go through and squeeze the old trike in for another episode. It needs some things like the governor removed. It's got some flat tires. There's some other things that need to be addressed, and maybe we can make a little bit more power out of this thing, because I don't really ride it, but maybe if I did a little more work, I would ride it. So we're going to go ahead, call it a wrap on this episode. Next week, we'll play around more with the wiring, go take 3 on it, and if not, we'll probably make a decision from that point. But with all that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace!